Assalamu alaikum. Today I will discuss something very interesting I was thinking about. I mean, I did my PhD in economics of sustainable development. It is something which is inherent to human behavior and could be expressed in most simplest of the ways and represents the lifestyle of every global citizen in 21st century. Now, what is sustainable development? It can be defined through various expressions like, you know, that you have started from somewhere and then you have returned to the same point. Uh, you might have noticed my writings, which I'm writing about quantum physics, classical physics, and the link between quantum and classical physics, explaining quantum properties of light after reading the works of Albert Einstein or looking at the works of Isaac Newton. So it's just quite interesting. I mean, imagine every day I go to the market and come back to my home. I mean, should it be represented by coming to the same point? No, of course not. When I go to the market, I bring few things. I go and shop, and it represents economic behavior. And every time I'm coming with uh, bread, chocolates for my daughters, and even food items. So it's not really I'm repeating. Yes, I mean it might look cognitively that I'm coming back to point zero or the same point, but it represents the quality of life and quality of time I have been spending with my family, for example, and that would represent some great household economics. Imagine every time being students, being young children, they go to school, then they come back home, or it's just kind of a routine. And of course, each day they will learn something new about themselves, about their friends, about their class fellows, and largely about life. So imagine uh, this particular phenomena uh, that defines us, traveling large distances and then coming back to where we have started. Now, there are 2 points that there is some kind of a destination, and then we come back to the point where we have started. I mean, these definitions could be understood beautifully by cognitively developing an understanding of household economics and then defining what represents home. I mean, it can be your citizenship. Pakistan is my home country. It could be your actual home, or it could be your ethnical representation. And then you will find one of the most beautiful expressions in local languages, which could be Sindhi, Pashto, Punjabi, Balochi, or it could be Urdu, or it could be in English. And then you start reading the works representing literature, which can be international or local literature, or you can be reading the reading the poems of one of the best poets of subcontinent India, or you, if you are familiar with English, your reading list might represent artworks of international poets. So it's this is I mean this is this so this simple phenomena that we every day we are some or other uh, following a certain routine which might represent high quality lifestyle of modern times, where our home is defined and our destination is defined and then the purpose is defined. And of course, being a student and researcher of economics of sustainable development, what point zero that should be defining uh, disturbance in the system is of course what is happening, might be happening in the world, represented through wars, conflict. I mean, that's where that of course. I mean, imagine that if we talk about World War One or World War Two, and then suddenly media or some intellectuals will be talking about the risk of World War Three. That is something which needs to be understood, and this is what is the purpose of today's video. That primarily each global citizen, from children to elderly, we are we are trained to provide one of the most beautiful meanings to coming back to point zero, or coming back to the same point. And it could then define one of the most complex systematic understanding as well, and finding its artistic and cultural value, and that defines my work, where what I'm saying is the future of economics and future of the most scientific world represents through cultural underpinnings of human behavior. I mean, it representation through culture expressions. It could be art, it could be poetry, and that would should lead to economic value creation, and that would address global conflicts. I mean, a global village which has understanding of the global culture and the local culture would then allow us to have a more peaceful world. I mean, that's what sustainable development is all about. And of course, SDGs is one of the most brilliant and comprehensive framework which could ensure global peace and which could ensure quality of life for every global citizen. I mean, this so the work is already being done, and more, what guideline as an expert I should give you? We need to focus on leaders. I mean, the leaders could be represented through their exercising of power, or what makes somebody a leader. I mean, for a nation state like Pakistan being a democracy, institutional leaders matter, and we need to make them and their work more effective. Our focus should be on leaders, and of course, United Nations is the best place where global leaders meet, global leaders at the level of the prime minister or at the level of the ministers. So every framework is there to then achieve global peace. And why global peace is still at risk is a question I'm still wondering about. Of course, every leader is represented through their own times. But then we have a world where we have intelligent artificial intelligence, super intelligent artificial intelligence developed through algorithms representing language models, generative language models. So the world is really progressing, and most of my work is trying to find the links through discussing my ideas with Microsoft Copilot that the future is about cultural exchange, cultural understanding, and understanding the other point of view. And United Nations is the most effective place to represent global progress and global peace. Thank you.